Just like to wish you luck. I know you'd do the same for me.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Whoa! Whoa!
This is the original version of Toy Story.
Woody, you deliberately threw Buzz out the window.
And while it has similarities to the original,
Save your batteries, people! Hey! Save your batteries.
it was a complete disaster.
It was really not the movie we set out to make.
It was mean.
If it wasn't for me, Andy wouldn't pay any attention to you at all.
It was very abusive.
And it almost killed Pixar.
Disney forced us to shut production down, and they wanted us to lay people off.
How do you reshape your movie
If we're gonna go down, let us go down doing something that we believe in.
into one of the most influential animated classics?
Everything was riding on what could happen in the next 2 weeks.
When all the pressure is on? By the time Disney partnered with Pixar in the early 90s, they had already began to make a name for themselves with their animated shorts.
And the Oscar goes to Tin Toy, John Lasseter, and William Reed.
But they had bigger aspirations.
Peter Schneider, who was head of Disney feature animation at the time, called us one day and said, "We are interested in you guys possibly doing an animated feature film for us. But we knew if we didn't have the story great, it wouldn't matter if we were using new technology." For us, we were trying to figure out how to take something we'd only done in very, very small amounts, short films, TV commercials, and make it 75 minutes long. You know, the story was like, wait a minute here, this is a much more difficult thing than I thought. We decided to start by making a list of what we didn't want our film to be. We didn't want it to be a fairy tale.
We knew we didn't want this to be a musical.
We didn't want to make the same kinds of films that were being made at Disney.
And we weren't trying to make them the way that they were making them.
We wanted it to be something different.
Here's a chance to put our money where our mouth is.
The idea for Toy Story originated from a familiar place.
And we were inspired from Tin Toy with the ideas that we had developed in there of toys being alive. So we came up with the idea for the buddy picture with two toys.
In the original idea, Tinny was on a family vacation with his owner, and he gets lost at a rest stop. There, he's found by a junk man who chucks him into the back of his truck. In the back of his truck is this old ventriloquist dummy, and they decide to stick together. But at the end, they finally end up in kind of a toy heaven at a preschool where they'll never get lost or never get outgrown. But then the storyline changed to a kid's room, and the kid gets a new toy for his birthday and is brought into the room with all the old toys.
And when the doors close, they're stuck in that room for who knows how long until somebody calls on them. And we thought that's kind of an adult slant that people can relate to. And then to put even more on that, you know, give them sort of a hierarchy and an attitude towards their job, basically, that's like the workforce.
What matters is that we're here for Andy when he needs us. That's what we're made for.
With the setting in place, they now needed to create some characters to live in it.
Woody and Buzz. One is very tall and prone to emotions.
One is very short and is very methodical. One is made of cloth and is bendable and posable. One is made of metal and plastic and has things that pop out.
Oh, impressive wingspan.
They're just naturally going to clash. It's almost like the older detective and the young rookie.
You are a sad, strange little man.
Woody started out as a ventriloquist dummy. He started out as sort of a sarcastic, comedic character, which to some degree stayed. Bud Lucky basically had the core concept of making Woody a cowboy.
I just thought a cowboy would be more interesting, working with a spaceman.
Woody, the older toy, was based on him. This is my Casper from when I was a little boy.
This is my spot, see? The bed here.
Local law enforcement. It's about time you got here. I'm Buzz Lightyear, Space Ranger.
The original version of Buzz was based on Tinny, but as the project developed, that no longer made sense for the character.
But it didn't make sense that an old-fashioned tin toy, like Tinny was, would become a kid's new favorite toy. So we had to come up with our own action figure. The goal was to make Buzz the toy that any boy would just die to have.
And everybody had their own coolest toy, but we tried to incorporate as many things as we could into one toy.
We started out with the name Lunar Larry, but then it evolved to Tempest from More.
I'm Tempest from More.
And ultimately became Buzz Lightyear.
Throughout this process, Disney was keeping a close eye on the project, but this almost killed the movie.
Here's like the first year on the film was like, we would board a sequence, and then Tom Schumacher and Peter Schneider would fly up, and they would give us tons of notes on the boards, changes to make, ways to improve it to make it better. And then we would turn around those notes, and then we'd fly down to Disney, pin up our boards, and they'd give us more notes. And we'd even make changes that night, and then like at 6 a.m. or 7 a.m. the next morning, very early mornings, we would pitch it to Jeffrey Katzenberg. And then he would rip them all apart.
One of the key concerns from Disney was that this is going to be very juvenile. It's going to be only interesting for a little kid.
What's in it for adults? And the term they kept using was edgy.
We ended up going for much more snarky and sarcasm.
Jeffrey Katzenberg, who at the time was chairman of the Disney Studios and had great interest in animation, would always be pushing for what he called edge. And the Woody character became wildly unappealing at one point.
This culminated in an infamous day during the film's production.
We got to a place where we had a screening of like the first half of the movie in story reel form.
After all the studio meddling from Disney, on Black Friday 1993, Disney saw a showreel of the first half of the film. It's now dubbed the Black Friday Reel. And it was a disaster.
And I tell you, I sat there and I was pretty much embarrassed with what was on the screen. I had made it. I directed everybody to do this, but it was a story filled with the most unhappy, mean people.
No!
All right! Save your batteries, people!
It was really not the movie we set out to make. And it was a disaster that day. We've since coined it Black Friday. Disney wanted to shut production down. They said, clearly, you guys don't know how to do the feature film story on your own. We want you to come down.
And you guys are going to have to be much more supervised and micromanaged, and that's how we're going to fix this story.
And I thought, I can't do this to my crew.
And they wanted us to lay people off, and we refused.
We were getting threats that because it didn't work well, that you would have to go back down. We were all gonna have to go down south and reboard the film under their supervision.
And all of us had bought homes there in San Francisco after the green light. All of us were like, I'm not moving back.
I think John's philosophy was, if we're going to go down, let us go down doing something that we believe in.
It's not always bad in this process to have things not work. When you have these crashing things that happen, the rebuilding allows the thing to be so much better.
Disney gave Pixar an ultimatum to get things back on track.
And I said, just, give us 2 weeks and we'll turn things around.
Give us 2 weeks. And if you don't like what you see in 2 weeks, then we will shut production down and move down there.
And when do we have to have this done by?
2 weeks.
They decided they weren't going to fund any more of the film. So now our company was completely at risk, and everything was riding on what could happen in the next 2 weeks.
John brought everyone together in the screening room, basically made an announcement about they're putting the brakes on it. Several of you are going to be fired.
I turned to our guys and I said, let's just make the movie we want to make.
So let's go back to the first instincts and tone of what we were originally pitching that got kind of shot down, because that just feels right to us.
And we just started working day and night.
There's nothing like fear as a motivator. Fear of moving, fear of losing your job.
We were all holding our breath for those 2 weeks, but we believed in what we were doing. We believed in ourselves.
Imagine you're never going to have to show this to anybody. What would you want to see?
And we basically started making the film we wanted to make.
What did I tell you earlier? No one's getting replaced.
Joe and John and Pete and I would banter about with story ideas, and Joss would be in the same room.
And I'd be like, okay, I got something. Go in my room and clickety-clack.
We worked day and night. Andrew, Pete, Joe, myself, our story team, our editorial team.
And so we just really went 100% with our gut.
Everybody's helping everybody else.
It was like we became one mind in a way. I remember we got this frenetic overdrive way of working.
We learned to do the first pass so rough because we collectively would get all these ideas once we saw it up and we'd change pin.
And we knew what we were looking at.
And we knew what we were looking at.
Right.
The other thing that was really important for me after that Black Friday screening was to make Woody likable.
It was a real education in just filmmaking for us, that just because a character has a problem or he's even not a likable person doesn't mean that they have to be an unlikable person on the surface.
We turned around in storyboard in 2 weeks from the beginning of the movie until Buzz Lightyear comes into the room and flies around the room.
Can!
Showed him the story reel of that.
Everybody was laughing, everybody was charmed.
And they were like, yeah, we like that. And we turned production back on, and no one had to move down to Burbank. and we kind of saved the picture at that point in time. But we learned a real lesson, and that was to trust our instincts.
We really sort of learned our identity through that, so that's sort of being put to the fire like that.
And just like that, 2 weeks became the version of Toy Story everyone knows. But finishing the story wasn't smooth sailing.
We worked out the story shot by shot with the writers and the storyboard artists.
We spent about 3 years storyboarding and re-storyboarding the movie over and over again, which is our way of rewriting. You know, we don't stay with the script form for too long. Once we think we got something working, then we want to see it and react to it on the screen. So we draw storyboards like comic book panels.
I'll cut the storyboards together with the voices and then add music and sound effects, and we'll look at it up on the big screen. And then instead of feeling like we're just watching a bunch of still storyboards, it has the feeling of a real movie.
Story led, the art direction, the lighting, the music.
We knew that we had a great process, a technique that looked really different and that was unusual, but we knew also that what really was going to, sell the picture was a story.
Andrew Stanton really, he had an intuitive understanding of who Woody was.
I learned a lot about how you could make somebody have selfish intentions, but have a selfless exterior. And that's how we finally cracked Woody. He really was in it for the room and wanted to help all the toys, but it was conditional as long as he was top toy. Once that got tested, it brought out a side of him he didn't even know he had.
Key moments that really defined the characters of Woody and Buzz is this moment when Woody finally blows his top and he says,
You are a toy!
You know, they can't even see reality in the same way. And yet, by going through this journey together, they start to understand where the other one's coming from.
With the story fixed, casting the voices was its own project. And 2 performances in particular defined the finished film.
Coming back to this sort of Jimmy Stewart-like character we wanted.
And the first and only person we thought of for Woody was Tom Hanks.
You got wings! You glow in the dark! Your helmet does that whoosh thing!
You know, the way they always got everybody was, they said, come be the voice of a Disney cartoon and you'll live forever and you'll delight your kids and your grandkids. That's how they got you. And you'd probably do it, just for free coffee.
Very good, Woody. That's using the old noodle.
We actually took some lines of dialogue from a movie he'd been in called Turner and Hooch, and we animated our test figure of Woody the cowboy to these really funny lines of dialogue of him getting so exasperated with his dog.
No, you're eating the car! Don't eat the car! Not the car! No, you stupid dog!
He saw that. He just laughed so hard, and he had us show it to him like 3 times in a row.
It fit. If I had come in and seen something that didn't make quite as much sense, I don't know if I'd be doing the movie, but I saw Woody and he talked like I did, so it all made perfect sense. I said, great, I'm in.
Buzz!
We're thinking about who could be this, space hero kind of action figure that could really be funny. And I was a huge fan of Tim Allen's stand-up routine.
It's true. I got a lawn tractor. I got a big John Deere 160. Thank you.
Always wanted to do voiceovers, and I studied with some great voiceover talents that did commercials. So doing a voiceover was something it was in my wheelhouse. I always liked that idea.
Tim Allen, as the voice of Buzz Lightyear, he is really appealing. And he can play the macho guy, but with a soft underbelly,
No, go, just go, I'll catch up. I was actually acting in there a little bit. There's a whole bunch of, you hated it though.
Tim Allen, as an actor, brought a lot to that character and forced us to look at the character in a much more unique and specific way.
It's very interesting because in the beginning, Buzz Lightyear was much more superhero-like, much more Dudley Do-Right.
We originally had the idea that Buzz Lightyear was aware of the TV show that he was a part of. But when Tim came in, he played him so honest and real that we changed the idea of Buzz Lightyear after that recording session.
And it's much better to where he is just like a cop.
Watch yourself. Miles, who goes there? Do you know these life forms?
Yes! They're Andy's toys.
We thought we had the most perfect casting between these 2 guys.
According to my Nava computer.
Shut up! You shut up! You idiot!
Sheriff, this is no time to...
No!
With the 2 main characters in place, there was one more iconic piece of Toy Story remaining.
Got a friend in me.
So here we are developing Toy Story, working on the story.
And there was still a lot of pressure from Disney, I think coming from the great tradition of having all the great music in Disney films.
And we went, we were kind of thinking that we wouldn't have any songs in the film. But our savior is a guy named Chris Montan, who is the executive music producer for Disney. He explained how songs can actually help explore and tell an emotion that you can't get across with just dialogue. We said, we can do songs if we do it like this. Then we started thinking about who can we have do this. There was only one name that came to mind for me, was Randy Newman.
I was first contacted about Toy Story by John Lasseter. He explained that it was a computer animation and that he thought that the picture might need warming up.
The first song we wanted him to write was a song that we would use at the beginning of the film to explore the relationship that Woody has with Andy. But then at the end of the film, the same lyrics meant Buzz Lightyear and Woody's relationship.
John said that he wanted it to be about the special friendship. You've got a friend in me.
And he goes, I got something for you. And he sat there and saying, you've got a friend in me. And we all looked at each other and went, this is amazing.
You got a friend in me. Those days recording Toy Story, those are the best days of my life, recording with the orchestra. I love them.
Nice job.
Finally, they could take in the movie they worked so hard for.
When we were starting Toy Story, we knew that we would probably be making the first computer animated feature film. When it got animated, it was even more exciting. But nothing prepared us for the step that it took after it got fully rendered. My jaw was on the floor. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. And I mean, I directed the movie. I knew what was coming up, and I couldn't believe how amazing it looked. Everybody's going to notice and talk about the fact this is the very first computer animated feature film. But the computers are just tools. They didn't create this picture, it's the people that created the picture. And we had such a fantastic group of people, and I had so much fun working with them. And that's what I'm going to remember for the rest of my life.
We worked on the film for many years and probably didn't even think about whether it would be a big success.
We're kind of holding our breath, because we've worked 4 years on this film. It's our baby.
So by the time we finally were showing it to other people, I think we personally liked it so much, it almost didn't matter what the rest of the world thought. We cared deeply that it would be well received because we wanted another opportunity to do it.
You know what's funny? I never thought of it at all as anything special in terms of, this just shows you where my little vision of the thing was. I'm having a great time making this with my friends. We're getting to challenge what I've always loved about animation and push things in new directions. That was the joy of it to me. The fact that anyone was ever going to see this or it would go out into the world never occurred to me until it actually happened.
We finished the film in the late fall. Then the movie opens on Thanksgiving, weekend, and it becomes a #1 film, and people just loved it.
The premiere that was at the El Capitan Theater, to sit in that fabulous movie palace and have this, honestly, a brand new art form on display for everybody there for the first time. Something was up on the screen that looked unlike anything that had ever been seen before.
And the best part of this is El Capitan on a Saturday with a bunch of kids and families watching this magic happen.
It really was a big deal. Like, there was nothing like this. It was like the first thing. It was like, you equated it to Snow White.
It was weekday in the morning and the theater was just packed.
I'd never heard of Pixar before. Who are these people? Who made this? I want to work for them.
I would argue that if Toy Story has an impact that goes beyond just its own story, is that it says you can be successful when you put your heart into something and tell something with joy and innocence, honesty and purity.
I remember dropping my son off at preschool, and kids on the playground were running around saying "To Infinity and Beyond" and all these other lines that I'd written. And that freaked me out. That really freaked me out.
Kid was misbehaving in an elevator. He was, being a 7-year-old. And really punching his mom in the thigh. So I went to infinity and beyond. And the kid stopped what he was doing, looked at me, and he did a few more things. You are a sad, strange little man. And then he shuddered and looked like he was going to pass out. And then he's crying all the way out that ugly man swallowed Buzz Lightyear.
A mom and dad come in with a kid, and the parents say, "Oh, this is Woody, you know, from Toy Story." And the kids just see a guy in an elevator. And then I say, "Come on, Buzz, we gotta get back to Andy's room quick." They always go. It makes me feel like I'm the luckiest guy in the world, that I'm part of this thing that has gone down in cinematic history as lightning in a bottle.
Let me read you this letter. It says, "Dear John Lasseter, we had a young child about 6 years old come into Walt Disney World. He brought with us his well-played Woody doll." It's right here. His parents bought him a new one, and he wanted his first one to have a great new home. So he left it here to spend infinity and beyond with Buzz Lightyear. As you can see, he has been loved very much over the years. Thank you for giving everyone great characters that have a heart. Sincerely, the Magic Kingdom Guest Relations Cast. This is why I do what I do.
Toy Story and Pixar went on to change movies and animation forever, but none of that would have been possible without the original version. This is On Screen. Thanks for watching. Subscribe.